Hello and welcome back to our cottage garden. Sorry it's been a little while since we last showed you round. Things have been really busy work-wise, and I've got a secret project that I'm working on behind the scenes that I can't tell you about quite yet, but that's why I have been quiet this month and might be the case ongoing for a little while. But so excited to welcome you to the garden today because we've got quite a lot of food that's ready to harvest. So I thought we'd do a harvest video. You can see next to me we've got loads of plum trees, so we'll get on to those first, I think. I've been a little bit lazy with picking these this year, so this is kind of the last batch. When I'm really on it with the plum trees, we get buckets full. We normally get some disused plastic buckets from the florist, maybe 4 of them, and they can be completely filled in a good year and we can make loads of jam. Not going to be the case today, but we might have enough for a small pie, and that's still worth picking. But first of all, I haven't done the ducks yet, and that's normally what I do first thing in the morning, so we can go in there and see if we've got any eggs. They are molting at the moment, which means a couple of them are not laying just because they're putting their energy into shedding their old feathers and growing the new ones, and they just get a bit tired this time of year, so they have a brief break. We get 1 or 2 eggs a day, but not as many as we do when they're not molting. So let's go and see if they've laid any. I just have to be careful because the boy does peck. Hello. Hi. We've got 1 egg, and I think I'm safe. Thanks, Waylon. Bye. 1 egg, so way less than we're used to, but it's lovely, good size. I will go and grab a basket for the rest of the things that we're picking from the shed. So we've got the ducks out for a forage now, and I've picked up a few plums from the lawn. I've still got a few more down there, but I think I'm going to try and shake the trees and see if I can get any more to fall down. They are quite big, so I can't reach them. There's a couple of trees I can just about reach, but I'm just going to shake them and see if the last few fall off. Last time I showed you these plums, we did have a problem with plum moth. So what I found, when you have plum moth, they lay their eggs inside the fruit, and then the larvae kind of wriggle around the stone, and it's quite disgusting. What I found is we still have problems with it, and I'm not putting any pheromone traps up or anything. But these are kind of the 2nd or 3rd batch that's fallen off the tree, and if I open them up, there aren't any plum moths in there now. So the first lot that falls down tend to be the ones that have the larvae living inside. So I just leave those and they get trampled and they rot into the lawn. If there's a big build-up of them or wasps, I just move them up to the compost bin. And then 2nd, 3rd, 4th lot that fall off the tree are absolutely fine. So that's how we are dealing with it, because I don't have the time and energy to be putting pheromone traps all the way along the garden. We've got so many plum trees. So let's give the rest of the trees a shake and see if we can find any more. But that's still a good amount. I could make a little pie with that. So let's go. This one's huge. Wow, that's amazing. So there we go. I think that's enough plums for us. I may even have enough to make jam after all, so I might give that a go. I've made plum jam from these before, and I think it's quite an acquired taste because it was really tart. I don't really like things that have that kind of tangy taste. I like things to be quite sweet, but my sister loved it, so maybe I'll make some jam for her. But I love these to look at. They're so pretty. The colour of like purpley blue. And the texture of them, they're amazing. I just think they're so beautiful. There's still a few more on the trees, not loads though, and this is enough for us, so I think I'll just let the rest fall. And now we can move up towards the polytunnel. So welcome to the Polytunnel. There's a few things for us to pick in here. I'm really excited to harvest the aubergines, and we've got quite a lot of tomatoes as well, which I have left a little bit too late. So let's start with the aubergines and see what we can find. Come and have a look down here. So this one here I'm going to harvest, and this plant was given to me by my neighbour, so I'm not sure what the variety is. But I think this is probably my first successful year growing aubergines. I've tried once before and I left them for too long and they went to seed and they tasted really disgusting. And then I have another one back here which is a different variety. This is one that I planted myself and I have forgotten the variety as well, so I'm sorry I couldn't be more helpful there. But let's go and pick him. That one's really cute. I love the colour and the stripes on there. Ow, they're really spiky.
Show me again. Like, hold it quite close to me. Beautiful, there you go.
Lovely, so there's those two. I think we'll have a few more. We've got loads of flowers, but whether or not it's too late in the year for those to turn into fruit, I'm not sure. I guess it just depends how early we get our frosts and if we have any more warm weeks, but we have a tiny one here. I think this will make it. So there will be at least one more. But I think I've got about 8 plants in here and differing sizes, but lots of flowers. So just keep your fingers crossed that we'll get more of those. When it comes to tomatoes, we've got so many. We're just going to be wandering around and finding them. So lots of different varieties as well. I think I sowed about 6 different varieties this year and swapped a few with my mother-in-law. But they look amazing and I love these. So gorgeous. So I'm just going to wander around and pick as many as I can find now. And while I'm picking the tomatoes, I can see a few cucumbers around as well, so I'm going to go ahead and pick those before they get too big. A variety of different kind of shapes and sizes, because some of the plants haven't been tied up quite properly, so when they hit the ground they bend a little bit. But these are a really good size, and we like to pickle these rather than eat them fresh, and then they'll last us for the year when we're having sandwiches. It at the moment has been ideal conditions for tomato blight, and I'm just keeping an eye on the tomato plants as I'm moving around to see if there are any signs of it. So far I can't see anything, but the weather has been, that's a weird looking cucumber, the weather has been so damp and warm and humid. It has been perfect conditions for blight, and I know a lot of my friends that have tomatoes, particularly outside, have suffered with it already. So I'm just being careful and keeping an eye on things, but so far we're okay. I'll probably thin the leaves out a bit as well to keep the airflow going, but good thing about a polytunnel is you can be very controlling about how and when you water, and that can help with preventing blight. Another really bendy cucumber. But they will all taste the same, we don't mind. So that's everything from the polytunnel today. We've got 4 cucumbers, 2 aubergines and a decent amount of tomatoes. I'd say that's probably about a quarter of the tomatoes. There's still most of them left on the plant looking green. So after this I will go ahead and take some of the leaves off and help get those ripening, and give the plants a feed as well, which I do once a week with a liquid feed, which is homemade comfrey or seaweed, depending on what I've got. So I'll be getting on with that. You'll also notice that some of these tomatoes have split just because I waited too long for them to ripen. We haven't had any sun apart from today, so they've taken a really long time, and I left them on the plant hoping for more of them to ripen at once, and obviously it didn't work, but these are still edible and we will use them to make a pasta sauce, so it doesn't matter too much to us. They'll all go on a roasting tray and make a really lovely sauce. So there you go, that's the polytunnel, and now we can go up to the veg garden. One thing I definitely need to harvest is my courgette plants, and there's a whopper of a courgette on here. I try and pick these before they get too big. This is as big as I let them go usually, but that looks really nice. That can go in our pasta. There's a few more. We've got 3 plants here, lots of small courgettes, so probably next week we'll have a glut of courgettes, as most gardeners will be used to if you grow courgette plants. But we haven't had too many this year. They've been quite slow and we've only just started harvesting them probably in the last 2 weeks, so we haven't had too many yet. We are also going to pick a few onions from this bed next to me, and these are my walking onions. So you can see they've got their bulbules on the top ready to replant. So I'm going to be picking the bulbs from the bottom of the plant, and we will use those in our sauce. And then these little bulbules from the top, I just put them back into the soil to replace the big ones as I take them. And it just means that we end up with more each year, because each plant has about 4 to 6 bulbules on the top, possibly even more than that actually. The only thing about these onions is they don't store very well and they're not very big, so I tend to just pick them as I want to use them. You can eat the green parts on the top as well, but when they're big like this, they're quite woody and solid, so you wouldn't want to eat those. But the young growth like that is just similar to a spring onion, so that's usable too. I'll just snip the roots off and put them back in the bed to rot down. But you can see they are quite tiny, so you do want to pick a few. And then the final thing I'm going to grab from out here is some Cavolo Nero from this bed here. I have, against all advice, grown this in my asparagus bed, and people say not to mix asparagus with other things because it crowds the roots out and the asparagus need the nutrients in the soil. But I found it's been really good having other things in the soil to fend off asparagus beetle. So although the asparagus hasn't been too happy about sharing the space, I haven't had any problems with asparagus beetle this year, so that's been quite interesting, and I think I will experiment with growing other things next to it. You can see I don't cover these and there are tons of caterpillars on them, but I don't mind that. I just pick them off and choose the leaves that aren't too busy. So I'm just going to pick a few leaves of Cavolo Nero and just avoid the caterpillars, but I don't mind. They need food and happy if they find it in the garden. So that's everything from the vegetable garden and the polytunnel. It's incredible that you can grow all of that in your garden. I'm so pleased with that. I'm just going to set this down here. So it hasn't been a good year for some things in the garden, but it's been an amazing year for figs. And I've harvested from this tree 3 times. I came out here last night and picked about 6 or 7 figs from it. There's only one that's looking almost ripe because I picked them all yesterday. But sometimes as they start to ripen on the tree, I just get them off as quickly as I can, because otherwise the flies and wasps will start to eat them. But this one's nearly ripe. I'll bring it inside to ripen it. They're amazing and they're so tasty. There's a lot of small fruit left on here. I'm not sure they'll get big enough this year, but there's a few more big ones that just need to get slightly bigger and then ripen. So I think I'll have another harvest from this yet, but I absolutely love figs, and this was here when we moved in, so I'm really grateful to whoever planted this in the past, and it's something that I would consider putting more fig trees in the garden. And then behind me, apples, not quite ready, maybe 1 or 2, yeah, 1 or 2. I pruned this so heavily in the winter, which I think might be why it doesn't have a lot of fruit on it this year. But in this top bit of the garden, I don't put much effort in because I only have so much time and I prefer to concentrate it in the bits of the garden that are closer to the house. So this area is super wild, but we do get quite a lot of fruit from it anyway. All I do is a bit of pruning in the winter and mowing once a year, and that's it. So we can pick a few of these, but I think I will do one large harvest when they're mostly ready. But they do come off quite easily. We haven't had any pears this year either, but every year so far has been a really good year with that pear tree, so maybe it's having a rest this year. Sometimes they just don't produce fruit, and I think I would rather have figs than pears anyway. So just a little bit of fruit, but kind of just wanted to show you what's to come. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 apple trees. One of them died earlier in the year, but most of them don't have fruit because I really hard pruned, or they don't have much fruit. I really hard pruned in the winter, so it's not going to be an amazing year for apples, but it will be manageable, which is nice. So let's take these back down to the basket and I can show you everything that we've picked all together. There we have it. I'm going to have an afternoon in the kitchen now. I'm probably going to make a bit of jam, some tomato pasta sauce, and then pickle those 4 cucumbers as well. Not sure what I'm going to do with the courgette and the aubergine yet, possibly have them with the pasta. We will see. But there we go. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to give us a subscribe if you'd like to see how our garden develops over the months and years.